Contribution. Senator McGrath.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. Mr Acting Deputy President, it's no secret that I'm a firm believer in the fundamental liberal principles of small government, of free markets, of individual liberty and personal responsibility. But people of my ilk are often berated by those on the left, the Greens and Labor, for being cold and uncaring and unfeeling. And this character assessment follows a flawed logic that a belief in less government involvement in people's lives is necessarily incompatible with having a generous heart. Because you see, Mr Acting Deputy President, the left is wrong when it says that if something is socially good, it must be done by government, that taxpayer-funded programs and distant bureaucrats are the only source of welfare, cohesion and social support. Community organisations, religious groups and not-for-profits have a long history in successfully looking out for the marginalised and less fortunate members of the Australian community. And indeed, part of that model is something I'd like to talk about tonight, and that is the social enterprise model. Social enterprises are defined in different ways, but at their core is that they share the beliefs of improving social and community well-being through the application of essentially free market business principles. Rather than only aiming to maximise profits, which I think is a wonderful thing, though still important, social enterprises focus on how their business activities can be directed towards facilitating social good and development. For example, they can adapt management practices and reinvest profits in a way that is targeted towards a virtuous circle of continued social improvement. There's no one-size-fits-all with social enterprises operating as not-for-profits, cooperatives and community-owned businesses. This flexibility allows social enterprises to deliver a range of benefits throughout the community. And of course, there are the economic benefits which me, being of the right, gets particularly excited about. Social enterprises, in many shapes and sizes, boost jobs and investment, often in areas otherwise neglected by sometimes traditional business activities. In particular, small businesses, the engine room of our economy, provide the perfect scale for nimble and adaptable social enterprises which can tailor their services to their local communities. But the driving force behind these enterprises is what they can achieve in terms of social benefits. And, Mr Acting Deputy President, the best form of welfare is a job. The benefits of employment, dignity, self-reliance, confidence and skills development provide a platform for new migrants, the long-term unemployed and other disengaged individuals to enter the workforce. By tailoring hiring policies to actively target these members of the community, social enterprises help to break down barriers and improve social cohesion. In addition, social enterprises often provide training services to cater for skills shortages that may otherwise prevent people in the local community from attaining employment. Internationally, we've seen the Conservative Party, under the leadership of David Cameron, utilise centre-right principles to achieve social progress under the banner of the big society. The big society champions the redistribution of power away from the state, from politicians and the bureaucrats, to individuals and local communities. The idea is to have a society with higher levels of personal, civic and corporate responsibility, with volunteerism and community engagement as drivers of local change rather than the dead hand of government. As part of this, the Conservatives have sought to strengthen and support social enterprises in the United Kingdom, recognising the important role that the sector can play in an otherwise straitened fiscal environment. Now, research in Australia has highlighted the benefits of the sector at home. In June 2010, the Firing Australia Social Enterprise Sector Report was handed down, shedding some light on this rapidly growing sector. At that time, it was estimated that 20,000 social enterprises existed in Australia, a 37% increase over the previous 5 years. 73% had been in operation for at least 5 years, and 62% in operation for at least 10 years, displaying the sustainability in the social enterprise model. The sector as a whole generated almost 40% of its income from trading activities across a wide range of goods and services, an impressive $22 billion annually, and constituted up towards 3% of gross domestic product. Encouragingly, 57% of social enterprises reported they reinvested any profits back into improving their businesses and extending their outreach to their target demographics. While no doubt the sector has changed significantly over the last 5 years, its benefits are plain to see. Mr Acting Deputy President, as an illustration of the work being done, I'd like to share an example of a successful social enterprise from my home state of Queensland. Access Community Services Limited, based in Logan, is a leader in settlement, employment, training and youth services to migrants, refugees and other clients. Its operations primarily cover Logan, Ipswich, the Gold Coast, but reach right across Queensland. At its inception, Access identified a need to provide transport to job seekers, especially from the migrant background, to provide transport to migrants in a region where public transport options were not always sustainable. So it came up with an innovative solution to establish its own driving school. This first social enterprise has since trained thousands of job seekers from numerous cultural and ethnic backgrounds, enabling them to travel to work and take part in employment and community activities. Access has gone from strength to strength, integrating a range of different businesses in a coordinated approach to cater for a diverse range of client needs. They have a real estate agency, a cafe, a virtual op shop. There's integrated gardening, repairs, moving and waste management businesses, and has provided a niche employment opportunities and filled service gaps for local councils, including Logan City and Western Downs region. And there are further plans to diversify, which I'll touch upon shortly. This approach again highlights the unique benefits of the social enterprise model. Not only does each business provide employment and training to new migrants and other clients, but the profile generated can then be put towards supporting Access's other youth employment and training and settlement programs. In December last year, I had the pleasure of visiting some of Access's operations in Logan. There I met with the Access CEO, Gail Kerr, OAM, and her team, who are strong and passionate believers in social enterprise and what they can do for their local community, not just in Logan, but across Queensland. But to me, the most exciting part of the day was the showcase of Access's new enterprise, the Spice Exchange. The Spice Exchange aims to provide migrant, refugee and other disengaged women with a soft entry into the workforce through food and culture. The women create recipes for different spices and mix the ingredients themselves, which will then be sold commercially. This environment allows the women to pass on their own cultural journey through the products they create, some of which I got to taste test during my visit. Not only do the women have the opportunity to develop their English, their interpersonal skills and self-confidence, but most importantly for me, they get to develop their small business skills, such as budgeting and marketing, which are part of the on-the-job training at the Spice Exchange. So hopefully they can go out into the broader community and establish their own businesses. For the Harmony Day celebrations in Cloncurry this Sunday, the Spice Exchange will be formally launched in conjunction with Cloncurry Shire Council and the local Country Women's Association branch. A great example of community and cultural engagement, and I am a sorry apology for not being able to be there on the day due to boring logistical reasons. Now, following on from my visit to Access down in Logan with Gail and her team, I think it might be appropriate to establish a parliamentary friendship group supporting social enterprise, and I'll be writing to MPs and senators in the near future gauging the support for such a friendship group. I'd particularly like to thank my friend Carmen Garcia for highlighting the good work of social enterprise and what it has done for what it can do for local communities. Her dedication to assisting migrants, multicultural youth and other disengaged individuals in taking part in the Australian way of life is commendable. And in particular, I'd like to congratulate Carmen on the recent birth of her son, Cooper, a large baby boy at 9 pounds and 12 ounces, which I'm told is rather a large boy. So many senators in the room are nodding in agreement with that, being the female senators. The men will just look awkward and speak. But anyway, I think the social enterprise model is something that should be supported because it combines the best of what I believe in terms of the freedom of the individual, in terms of smaller government and greater responsibility for the individual to take care of themselves. Thank you, Mr. Acting Deputy President.
Thank you for your contribution.